Yeah,
Okay.
cool. Hey, everybody, welcome to this special session with Satoshi Ochi. He is the director at USTA with strength and conditioning over there, and really excited to have him on the summit as we have had in several years. So, Satoshi, welcome to the summit. I really appreciate your time and for this special setup this year.
Hey, thanks for having me again. Hi, everybody. I'm Satoshi Ochi, Director of Strength and Conditioning, USTA Player Development.
Yeah, thanks so much, Satoshi. And so, yeah, like I mentioned, this is one area that I personally really enjoy. I love working out and love trying to improve my mobility and my strength and power on the court. And so I'm really excited to discover, through you how exactly to do that. So I guess I'll kind of let you, lead it from here, and then I'll ask you follow-up questions. And also everybody in the audience, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I wanted to make it more like a demo-based presentation this year. And then topics in in the mobility, stability, flexibility on that area. We talked about in the past years, exercises, strengthening, a little bit conditioning, all kind of things. We can talk about that anytime again, but more like to focus on more on the mobility side of it. We can get stronger, better condition, faster and everything, but you can't forget about mobility. If you don't have a good mobility, if you limit your range of motion, you may not be able to maximizing your performance. So, two areas of body parts we focus on the tennis players here. Obviously, we do everything, total body, but the two body parts we really focus on the tennis players are hip mobilities and upper body, thoracic, shoulders, scapular, that upper back region of mobility. So I just want to show a few exercises you can do at home today. So hopefully this is going to help out. If you if you're in a position at home right now, you have a little bit space, you can do this with me. But before we going on the specific exercise, I just want to go over a few dynamic warm-up exercise. I need to do enough to do some demo anyway. So let's work on the little bit of dynamic warm-up. And there's lots of exercises you can do and a series of exercises you might have at your routine. But three exercises I like the most on the dynamic warm-up routine. So the first one is the world greatest stretch. So you're gonna walk by the hands a little bit on the push-up position. Put the one leg outside of the hand. You can push your leg a little bit on front and side away, loosen up your hip. You're gonna do a little bit rotation here, up and down. You're gonna put your body weight backwards, one knee down on the backwards. You can touch your toe if you can, and then stretch out your hammy. And you can do a little bit of a hip flexor here. So this is like all-in-one exercise you can do. You can do on the other side, of course, just back and forth. Use your hand if you want. Help out, hip joint moving up, down, rotating a little bit, and upper body rotation a few times. Put your back knee down, touch your toe, your hamstrings. You can do a little bit of the hip flexors. Okay, so we can do this on a couple of times at least on each side. I'm gonna skip that process. I'm sorry because we have limited time, but it's the greatest, one of the best dynamic warm up exercise. Another one I like, inchworm. So you're gonna walk to the by the hand and then bring your feet closer to your hand. So you can get the whole back towards the body dynamic warm up. You can add a little bit of a yoga type of movement on this at the bottom. You can do a little bit of downward dog, upward dog, and then bring this forward. there's many different ways to do this type of exercise, but this is another one I like to do a lot. Back side of the hamstrings flexibility. Now, the last one I want to share with you, going the side to side shift, deep squat position, side to side shifting. Really work on the hips, just warming up your groin and the hips and everything. Okay, so I know I skip a little bit here, but I'm gonna go over to the hip joint mobility exercises. The first one I'm gonna show, this is a series of squat exercises. So it's actually gonna work out a lot on the lower body and then total body kind of coordination and the core stability as well. But the main focus is in hips. But we're gonna start with normal squat position. Just go over your body weight squat. Your feet are a little bit wider than your hips. You can put your hand across the chest. You can put hands on the hips. You can put the hand on the front of you, wherever you want. Another way I like the squat technique, using some sort of the weights. Medicine ball works out great. Put a hold on through here so you can get a little bit the counter weights to balance your body. So I'm going to use this today. But like I said, you can do anything you want. Hip a little bit wider than hip, holding something. Point is you want to keep your upper body straight and nice and good posture maintained here. All right? And we're going to do just body weight squat. Just go as deep as you can go. All right? I'm going to move to this way a little bit so you can see the side of you. Make sure your back is straight. Your thighs parallel if you can go this deep. Okay, your toes and heels are on the ground and coming up. So that's the basic movement here. And what we're going to do is, this is really easy to do at home, and you can incorporate this to your daily routine if you want, or you can do a couple times a day, a couple times a week as a workout. We're going to just do the different stance on this. So we're going to start with hip width, a little bit wider than the hips. Normal stance here. So that if you just did one of the normal position squat, I would say. Now, I want you to move your toes out. If you can see me here on the screen, I just move my toes out. So open the hip position here, and if you can do the same type of a squat or not. Okay? Still your heels down on the ground. Okay. Now, I want you to go toes in as much as you can. And then do the same position of a squat. All right? This position, your knees coming in a lot because that's a weaker position with this on the toes in. So you push the knees out if you can. That's great. Okay? Coming up. Now, on tennis players, it's not always a square position like this, or in parallel. Challenge is if you can do the same type of movement with a stagger stance. Okay, forehand, backhand, think about it. You already positioned pretty much square here, but anytime different movement and shots, you're doing a little bit stagger position like this, right? So maintain the same hip width and put one foot up, making the stagger position, not too much, just align your toe and heel. So a little bit of a stagger position, a little bit wider than the hips, your toes straight, same squat position, down. Okay, now, when you start doing this, you may start seeing your heels comes off, maybe you start bending over. Point is, you want to maintain the same technique every stance and every position. That's why we're doing this. If you have a limitation on the hip, it's gonna make you tough. If you have a limitation on the ankle joints, it's gonna make this exercise harder. Okay? But the good thing about this exercise, you can see where's your weakness at, and you can work on it. Okay? Now, And then we're gonna do the same pattern of the foot position too. So I want you to go toes out and you do the same thing. Most of the time, toes out position, tennis players and normal populations as well, general populations, that's your favorite position because usually you have a pretty good outside external rotators. Now you're gonna do toes in, same stagger position, coming in. Again, if you can go only down about here, that's fine. If you can go down, that's great. Again, your knee might gonna come up, your heel might gonna come off. Okay, that's the position you're weak at. And you have a limitation on the range of motion, so you might want to work on that. All right, now stagger position, make sure you do the other way too. You're gonna switch the stagger position. So if you right foot forward, now you're gonna bring the right foot back. All right, same thing about your wider than your hip, a little bit wider than hip, towards straight forward. Do one squat here. All right, you may feel a little bit different on the stagger position because your right and left hips are a little bit different tightness. So that's where you're going to weakness and strengths at. Same thing, you're going to do toes out, down, toes in, down. I'm a little tight on this way, okay? So my knees coming off, my heel come off, so I need to work on this, okay? Just like that. Good. So that's the position you did on the normal stance, a little bit wider than the hip. And square stance, you do toes front, toes out, toes in. You're gonna do stagger position, toes out, toes in. Switch the stagger position, toes out, toes in. Now, again, coming into the tennis specifics, you're not gonna be always on this stance. So, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna make this wider, all right? Your coach gonna go, hey, you got a wider base. You need to stay down, wider base. You hear that all the time. Well, point is, if you don't have a strength or mobility to be in that position, you can't do that on court. So let's work on and let's see where's your weakness at. So you're gonna make it as wide as you can go, okay? In control setting. If you go way too wide, there's nothing you can do, okay? So wider than what you just did, comfortably you can stand. Same thing, toes straight forward, do one squat. All right? Now, remember, we're gonna do different position on the toes. So you go toes out, down. Again, this is usually everybody's favorite position. It's pretty easy. Now, the point is, if you can do toes in, and then bring it down to the squat position. Okay, automatically your upper body kind of starts moving forward, your knees coming in, your heel coming off. All right, that's okay. You just need to know where's your weakness at. Now the same stance, wide stance, you're gonna make it staggered. Okay, your front right foot forward or left foot forward, doesn't matter. We're gonna do both way anyway. Toes straight forward, you squat. Toes out. Squat down. This is everybody's favorite position. Most of the tennis players like this position. Toes out, wide stagger. This is forehand and backhand basically. And toes in, again, this is tough position for you. You may gonna come off your back heel right away. At the beginning, that's fine. If you can maintain the upper body position to do the good squat position, you can keep your heels down. That's even better. All right, let's switch. Okay, stagger position wide, switch positions, squat down, toes out, your favorite position here, squat down. So then, this is a tough one, squat down. Great. All right, last position, you did normal position, normal stance, wide stance, toes in, toes out, stagger both ways. One missing stance position is a very close position, all right? You're not gonna be in this position very often, but if you can do all the exercise in different position and then good mobility, you're good to go. So, you feet together, you have a little bit in between on the feet spacing. if you're wearing shoes, you notice I'm doing barefoot on this one. You can see the position better. You can do either way, shoes on, shoes off. That's your preference. But if you have shoes, you can get probably close to each other. Make sure you got a little bit space on the knees. That's about it. Okay? Toes straight forward, squat down all the way. Okay? Same thing, toes out, down. Now toes in, down. Okay? Now the same position. This is similar to if you have like a foot up serving position, you get this position a lot. So, but you right or lefty, you only do the one side. So you may see the weaker position, a better position on this. Same thing, your heel and toe align, little bit staggered, close to each other, toes spread forward, squat down. Toes out, squat down. Toes in, again, this is super tough for most of you. Okay, your heels comes off now, your main knees coming in, touching together. You gotta control that. All right. All right, you're gonna switch the stagger position. Toes straight forward, squat down. Toes out, squat down. Toes in, squat down. Good. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing great on this one. I know some positions super tough for you, but
yeah, that was tough, Satoshi. I did all of those, and yeah, I definitely have some follow-up questions. Should I ask them now or should I wait?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess maybe it's like kind of a broad one, but how do we figure out like what our weakness is? Like, let's say, for example, the like toes in seem very, very hard, and I feel like I couldn't get as deep as the other ones. And so like what, like, I guess, yeah, what's like a kind of a rough guide on how to diagnose and then like figure out what's your
I can give you a general idea of the limitations for tennis players right now. Three things. One thing is your knee stabilized muscles of the quads is pretty weak. That's why it's gonna come in. Okay, so you gotta train for that. Another thing is when your toes in position, you got maybe your heels comes off because your ankle mobility is not that great. So you gotta work on that. The last thing is your external rotate on the hip. You don't think about this, but that's the main mover to push the legs out when you're coming down this position. So you make sure you get that muscle stronger and stable so you can create that position. Hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I really enjoyed that because of like feeling all the different sensations. Because like, you know, most of us only will do that feet like a little bit wider than shoulder width and then toes straight, and we never do any other variation. So that was really cool to see that. And I guess overall, like, what is the main purpose of training these different positions? Is it just like totally different like muscles that are being worked? Or
yeah. So again, you know, the main focus on today's mobility exercise, one of the focus is your hip joint. And like I said, your glute med, hip joint tightness, internal rotator, outward rotator limitations, you can identify that. And this is not the exercise you're gonna put lots of weights on your shoulders or body. This is almost you can do the body weight. This is a flexibility, mobility type of exercise. So as you're doing this more consistent base, hopefully you're gonna have a better mobility on each joint and strength and stability on the different muscles and joint. So that's the purpose of it on doing this type of exercises.
Gotcha. Thanks, Satoshi. And then I guess just a comment and then a question from the audience. The comment is it was really interesting to note, like when I switched my legs and my left leg was in the back for the staggered position, that I felt that my ankle mobility was much more lacking and like my ankle was tight. And I've had like a calf strain in that left leg before, so it made a lot of sense. So it was nice to highlight that. I mean, not nice, but, you know, like good to highlight that and remind myself that I need to work on that.
Yeah, no, obviously, if you have some sort of the pre-existing condition or injury history, that's going to limit you. And you may have done good PT sessions and recovery sessions with the trainers and do everything right. But I understand if I get busy and you start skipping those sessions and stop doing the exercises. Now this is the time you're gonna see that. Oh, okay. I remember I had this exercise. I had this exercise, and then I had this injury before, and this makes sense. And then hopefully this is gonna give you a reminder to do your exercise more consistently.
Awesome. Thanks, Satoshi. And then just a question, Christopher, as we work through these various foot positions, are we seeking to bring the heel to the floor over time? Or every time or over time? I'm not sure.
So, well, your heel position, I think that's the question.
Yeah.
You want to keep the heels on the ground as much as possible. That's going to maximizing your mobility on the ankle joint, and it's sometimes coming from the weakness on the knee joints or stability from the hips and weakness from the hips. But the bottom line is, if your heel comes off, you don't have a good flexibility on that. Now, if you can do most of the exercises with your heels down, that's great. Some positions might gonna come off, and how much that's gonna come off the question. If you can minimizing that heel comes off the floor for all the positioning, that'll be great. You're gonna have a great mobility. But honestly, reality is it's pretty difficult to have all 27 positions perfectly done, heels down, knees position, hips positions, and everything. So. But that's the objective for this exercise is, yes, try to keep the heels down in every position.
Got it. Thanks, Satoshi. Thanks for taking the questions. I'll let you keep going.
Sure, yeah. Let's move on to the next exercise on the little bit more focus on isolating hips. You're probably going to see the 90-90 position or shin box exercise. And that is you creating your on the floor, and you're creating a position on the knee joints, and both knee joints and hips on 90-degree position. So it's gonna be your front knees and 90-degree on the ground, your back knees on the 90-degree in the ground, and you can keep the good posture without touching the floor. If you can make that position, that's great. You have a pretty good flexibility and stability everywhere. The reality is, some of you may already feel the tightness, and then you have to maintain this position. Okay, and you might have to go lean one side and touching the ground. That's totally fine. Again, if you're creating this position to start with, and then maintain that position as much as possible, that's the start. The goal is you want to be on this position with good posture. You foot, knees, both hips, and the back foot of the knees and then the foot on the ground. Okay, and we're gonna start with on facing forward, and if you can do side to side mobility exercise on 90-90 position. Again, if you have to lean back and then hold your body, that's fine. Okay, just loosen up your hips. And everybody have different mobility and weakness in here. This is challenging your hip isolating movement, and you get internal rotation, external rotation movement here. All right. If you loosen up there, that's great. Let's do this exercise. Let me bring some tools here. I can show you. Most of the time, okay, let's create in that 90-90 position, shin box position. Your front knee is 90-degree, your back knee is 90-degree. Most of the time, your back foot is fine. You can put the knee down, your foot down, okay? Challenge is your front, okay? You may not be able to put the knee down all the way because it's a tightness there, okay? If you can bring down to the ground on your own, maintain this position, that's awesome. If it still comes off, that's your limit right now. All right, so it's gonna get better, but to do the exercise, you're gonna get some assistance. If you have a block like this, I'm gonna put on the front knee, creating a little bit release here, and you can create in this better position. Let's do that. If block is too high, tennis players have tennis balls. So tennis balls works out great underneath the knee here. So you're creating this position here. Okay? And if you can open the arm, chest up, engage your core stabilizing, you got internal rotation position on the front leg, external rotation position on the back leg. You can hold this position, great. Next challenge is try to push your front foot, front legs, foot and knees, back foot, knees and foot down to the ground. And try to push down as much as you can to the ground and hold that position. You're gonna feel the lots of tension all over your body, especially the hips. That's where you wanna have. Okay, that's stability part of it. Now the mobility of this hip joint is, let's start with the back foot because that's usually easier. Okay, keep your knee down on the ground and try to bring your foot up. See a little movement I'm doing here.
Oh, God. Ah.
All right, that's your tightness. I hear you. All right.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the one. All right, the front. If you have to put something underneath the knee, that's great. And then do the same rotation exercise here and bring these legs up. I have a little weakness in here, internal rotation, so I have to use a little bit cheating here, okay? Bottom line is if you can bring the entire foot like this, that's the start. If you can put the knee down and just using internal rotation to bring this leg up, I cannot even do it without having any assistant here, okay? So that's internal rotation mobility, all right? Let's switch the foot. Again, you may have a defined tightness, strength, stability here, okay? Same thing, try to create the 90-90 position, front and back, all right? If you have to use the block for the front, you can use block, tennis ball, textbook, phone books. Nobody has a phone book anymore, by the way.
I have somewhere.
Right? So, but same thing. Now, hold this position, stability. You're gonna put the entire feet, knees, foot, everything down to the ground and hold that position. 1, 2, 3, and release, okay? You can do that a few times, and then now you're gonna move on to the back foot, okay? And then you're gonna do the front foot up and down. Again, if you have to lean one side to do it, that's not ideal, but that you have to do that way right now, that's fine. You're gonna start moving somehow, so your body will start noticing, oh, okay, I gotta start doing this exercise and I gotta start moving these joints, okay? I know, it's not easy, but if you see, and not only the tennis players actually, this become lots of mobility, warm-up, exercise routine, any type of high performance athlete. So if you can work on this, great. Your hip gonna be loosened and hope the feel is better. Now that's the rotation isolating hip. And another exercise I want to show you. This might be, hopefully this is a little bit easier. So you're gonna be laying down on the side. Okay, and relax your bottom leg. So if you're doing the same position, okay, your left shoulder's on the ground, left hip on the ground, and then your left leg's kind of 90 degree and relax in this position. Okay, top leg is straight. Okay, I want you to pull that back a little bit. This is a better way. Pull back your leg as much as you can. Keep your straight leg. Pull your toe towards your dorsiflexion and then internally rotate, okay? And then touch the ground with your toe and then bring this up as high as you can. Keep your toes in dorsiflex position. If you start cheating, your toes up, not dorsiflex at all, yeah, you can go all the way up here. That's not what I'm looking at. This is very isolating and glute mid muscle. If your toes in, pull back, dorsiflex position, up and down. Okay? So this is pure, more like external rotator, but it's not rotating, isolating glute mid muscle a lot in here. All right. After that, you're gonna cross the legs, top leg crossing over, bottom leg is straight now. Okay? Same thing, I want you to pull this bottom leg as much as you can to behind you. Keep your body straight though. Okay, you can probably see me. My body is too straight. Okay, just pull back a tiny bit using your glutes. Okay, toes up, dorsiflex position, and then bring this up as high as you can. So this is more like the groin area. If you have a weak groin, adductor, you may only bring this leg up tiny bit, okay? If you are on clay court a lot, hot true, green clay, whatever, when you're sliding, that adductor groin muscle you're using a lot. So this is gonna be very helpful for the clay court players, okay? Let's make sure you're doing both sides, turn around, okay? Bottom legs relaxed. Top leg pull a little bit behind you, dorsiflex, toes up, and toes in, up and down. And then you may see tightness, weakness, one side. Now you know which one you need to work on. Top leg cross, bottom leg straight, pull, toes up, bring this up as high as you can. Okay? We can do this. We usually do a couple sets, 2 to 3 sets of anywhere between 8 to 12 repetitions. Part of the warm up, part of the exercise routine, workout routine, couple days a week. Since this is small muscle groups and body weight base, you can do every day if you want to. I'm not recommend to do that right away every day, but just little by little incorporate into your daily routine. That's not a bad idea. Cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, very cool. Sorry, I was just still recovering. Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Satoshi. That is really good. So I guess like if you were to do like I guess for your advanced athletes, are they doing these but with like bands or something or like light weights?
Yeah, so you can add some resistance onto this. You can do manual resistance. I can push manually to the legs and those kind of situation, or we can use the bands. But the bottom line is if you're using this as more like a movement prep exercise, the range of motion and then moving that joint and then using body weights normally good enough for that. And then if you really want to strengthen those muscles and joints, we're gonna do different exercise to really put more resistance into the body and then make it strong.
Good stuff. And yeah, trust me. I mean, I think body weight is more than good enough for like 90% of us, or it's so many of us. Because like I work, I work out in the gym. I love squat and deadlift and stuff. But and these were very challenging, especially so the toe variations was tough, and then these like the ones that we just did on the floor were like really tough. So very cool. Yeah.
No, you still have to do like a normal weightlifting, strength training. Those are great, and they make your body stronger, stable, and then bigger muscles and bigger joints. Just adding these smaller muscle exercise specific to the joint exercise, especially for the tennis players, that's gonna help your performance and hopefully prevent some unnecessary injuries as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And then Satoshi, I know you mentioned that you could do this like every day as well. But I'm wondering like how should we integrate it with, let's say if we have like a 4-0 player and they're working out in the gym maybe like 2 to 3 times a week, and then playing tennis like 2 to 3 times a week. So like how would you integrate this routine? Would you do it like every morning, or would you do it like in place of a workout, or what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think if you can incorporate this as your warm up or movement prep routine, that's probably the best. But I understand you may not have enough time to do that. And then, the morning is always great, just using as the morning flexibility routine and everything. And the bottom line is if you can, put like one set of one exercise in the morning and then maybe one set of the another exercise after you
Mm,
play tennis, that's totally fine too. It's better than nothing. But just remember that, before and after, especially tennis, you may feel a little bit different of the different tightness and the strengths because your muscles are a little bit fatigued after playing tennis. So
right.
but that's also the good time to see if it's weaker body position and the muscle group getting even more weaker. I mean, even weaker after your
Mhm.
tennis, and then your strong body parts, you feel okay after the exercise after tennis as well. So that's it's always way to figure it out to use these exercises.
Yeah, thanks, Satoshi. And then in terms of using assistance in the form of a tennis ball or a block, what is it? Which one is easier? Like, what's the easiest progression? Is it the higher your knee is, the easier it is?
Higher is easier. Yes.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, okay, great. Um, and then yeah, I just like really interested me is the 90/90 because like in terms of the when we try to bring like you heard me, I was like almost screaming basically trying to bring my back leg or back foot up. Um how what's is that also the reps should be like 10 reps or something, 3 sets?
I wouldn't
Is that
start with that high repetitions. I would start with a couple times and the manageable repetitions you can do. Most of the time, first time you're doing this, you probably start cramping or you feel like a very limited position. So the first of all, you need to get in that position and see if you're comfortable with that position or not. And then start moving those joints like we did. Just do one, maybe couple, and then stop and then progress from there. So I mean, it's if you can do this like couple sets, 10 to 12 repetitions already, you're in a good shape. We need to give you advanced exercise and different type of progression on this.
Yeah, yeah. I just like kind of exciting me the prospect of like getting to that level because it was very tough for me to like even get my foot up at all. But
Yeah.
and actually, I guess to that point, if we find ourselves like where we can barely get our foot up, especially in the back leg, like what other things should we be doing to like if possibly like accelerate the progress versus like I mean doing that exercise obviously is the best, but like what other things should we be doing to help that area?
Yeah, hope I can accelerate the process, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's a slow process. It's baby
Yeah,
step.
true, true.
You can do, adding more hip movement type of warm up routines, doing this type of exercises. In the past, I believe I showed a little bit like a band exercise, monster
Mm.
walks, lateral walks, and those kind of exercises. So yeah, there's a bunch of different exercise you can do, but basically the key is whatever you do need to be consistent, and then you may start see some progress on here.
Cool, cool. Thanks, Satoshi. And I think it's so cool that, like half the time that I contact you, you're telling me like, oh, I'm at this tournament, pro tournament with the team, this pro tournament with the team. So I was wondering if you could just give insight into the audience into like what's your like day to day when you're going to these tournaments.
Yeah, so I mean, the tournament time, this is actually great routine to build into it, right? Because it's a body weight, you don't use weights, you don't, maybe using bands, but it's a very light resistance. So it's the beauty of this type of exercises. You can be consistent on the tournament and the match days as well. Obviously, you want to build up to that point. You don't want to do this, on the first time on your match day, you might start cramping. So yeah, I mean, you can build into this type of routines, and then if we go on a match and tournaments, preparation, players and pros we're dealing with, they play at the pretty high level and then using their body, pretty high intensity every day. So make sure their bodies are ready. including these exercises, and then probably spending at least like 30 minutes as a movement prep, warm up prep, and then they're gonna practice warm up and then after workout or after tennis match, make sure we do based on how much they did on tennis court. We're gonna do as much as maintenance work. Some exercises are similar to what we did today, and in tournaments and on the road is it's the challenge is they're gonna be on the road for that long time, a couple of weeks to a month, and if we can micro those stimulates to the body throughout the tournaments and the matches, that's beneficial, and that's how we are managing their maintenance on the body.
Yeah, it is a really powerful, awesome. Definitely looking forward to incorporating them. Satoshi, I know we only have a couple minutes left till
Okay.
time, but yeah, I just wanted to ask if maybe you could just let the audience know of like, things you're doing lately, and then if like there's any places you want to go to have them like check out what you're doing or what USTA is doing, anything like that.
Yeah, sure. No, we try to updating our resources on the website, and then very slow process, but we keep adding the updated information. If you search on the USTA player development, we have lots of sports science and strength conditioning resources, and then again, we try to keep updating on that one. We still have a very old information in there, but it's still good information. So. Yeah, that's it. And then I try to do more session like this, so I can help out everybody playing tennis, and then staying healthy, and then hopefully you can improve your performance. So I know I was gonna do like a little more upper body exercises, and then thoracic rotation type of exercise as
Ooh.
well. But one quick thing I wanted to share with you, everybody, was this is easy to do at home too. You're on the wall, against the wall. Keep your body against the wall and everything. Your hands and elbow against the wall, and then push the wall as hard as you can. So that's gonna stimulate your back side of your body, scapular movement. If you can do that, that would be great without having any issue with that. If you can do that, if you can move that position all the way up to overhead position here. As you can see, my elbows comes off because I can keep pressing that behind my head, but that's you will know how much mobility, stability, strength on the scap you have. That's just the one exercise I was going to show you to everybody today, but
Ooh.
you can do on the wall. If that's challenging, you can do on the ground as well. That will give you a little bit of help from the gravity. So you can do up and down. Same thing, your elbow might gonna come off. Again, if you can make your shoulder blade healthy, you can play tennis longer. So as hips, if you have a good mobility through the exercise we did today, your movement gonna be better, I hope, and you can, hopefully you can be injury free. So
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Satoshi. I know you're busy. I don't want to, because I know you marked till 11:45, so I don't want to keep you too much longer than that. But I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you everybody for watching. I know Artie said great performance as always. Awesome exercises we never knew about. Greatly appreciate your hard work and effort. So thanks for the comment. Thank you, Satoshi. All the best. Really appreciate it, and thanks everyone for watching as well. So thanks so much.
thanks again. Have a good one.
Thanks.